Well, you know that shit living hella rent free in his head. Ain't even gonna lie to y'all. Could have just said fuck it. Let me find something to do in my spare time. Something productive. Let me just stop messing with certain people. Let me stop trying to make my make. Let me stop trying to make myself look like a clown out here. I done enough. Let me just go ahead and just. Nah, we ain't gonna do that. I'm trying. Listen, I'm him, nigga. I'm still trying to be him. Head ass boy, Drake.
The kick streamer, Lawbry, Fraudbry, Drizzy Steak Drake Graham has decided to come back to hip hop, and he is sad, ladies and gentlemen. He is sad. You know, Kendrick called him a fan, FAN. I'm going to be calling him SAD, Sad Boy Drizzy, and the SAD stands for Spiraling Actor Drake.
The famous actor we once knew is looking paranoid and now spiraling.
Because that's unfortunately what we're dealing with here, ladies and gentlemen. A spiraling actor who last week got paid millions of dollars to act all holly and jolly on a kick stream, guzzling down margarita after margarita with his, as he calls him, bestie Aiden Ross, to just a week later putting back on that mob boss persona, reflecting on his life and the summer that he just had, giving us some insight into his perspective on the beef, where he stands with some of his quote-unquote brothers.
I never actually paid attention. Well, I don't really pay attention to a lot of shit, but I just want to make fun of it.
Rita with his, as he calls him, bestie Aiden Ross, to just a week later putting back on that mob boss persona, reflecting on his life and the summer that he just had.
Trying to see if there's a video of what what I'm trying to say. All right, basically what I'm trying to I don't know the name of the song, but the image for the '90s. Just bear with me, bro. I think there was a music video or like a little skit or whatever. It was like me love you long. It was something like that along the way. If y'all don't find if y'all can't understand what I'm trying to say, then whatever. But this right here, this right here, that's just what it reminded me of. I never actually noticed. I didn't know this nigga made a video where he looked like this.
Had, giving us some insight into his perspective on the beef, where he stands with some of his quote-unquote brothers. Keep in mind, last week he was calling Aiden Ross his brother, and just a couple years ago he said there was no friends in the industry, so I'm not really sure how genuine these brotherhoods really are, but one of the boldest claims he made on this new record, after guzzling a myriad of martinis when he was a kick streamer last week with Aiden Ross, this week he's Tony Soprano, and he claims he doesn't have a drinking problem. Now, we're gonna break down all the bars in this record. I've been saying I want to see Drake in a more vulnerable, reflective state, and he's definitely giving that to us here, but it's behind this lens, and I'm not saying that because this freestyle was given to us as Drake rapping behind a camcorder. I mean that after all these years of making music, Drake still struggles with actually giving us the real him. That's why I'm calling him the SAD, Spiraling Actor Drizzy, because he's letting us know he's sad here. He's definitely sad, right? Talking about, this stuff was personal to us, it wasn't just business, or people were never happy for me when I ran up the digits. Like, he's opening up about feeling underappreciated, backstabbed by his brothers, not having.
Drake did the same thing Lil Wayne did in the good old era. Remember when we heard when Lil Wayne was on every single fucking beat? There wasn't a beat that didn't go by you didn't hear fucking Lil Wayne on, bro. And I feel like that's what Drake was trying to. I feel like that's what Drake was trying to mimic too. But it just like he said, who's the real you, bro? Like who like I think the real Drake is that kid where that old video where his mom was sitting at the table and he was showing around the house. I think that's the real Drake. Did we get any much more of him? Like maybe the real Drake is the Graphy. I'm not fucking sure, but it just like the bad on his part because it's like Lil Wayne had his own flow. Like that was Lil Wayne. Weedy F baby. The whole, you feel me? That was Weezy, but with Drake, it's like I even said it. Nigga was giving me mixed emotion. I couldn't tell this nigga was like a black, white, yellow, green, purple.
Having the summer or the overall narrative go in his favor. Again, we're going to touch on all the bars shortly in this video, but yeah, he's definitely sad. You could definitely tell that there is some sorrow in his voice, and he's kind of opening up in that sense, letting us know he's frustrated, but he's doing this all through the persona of this macho, mafioso, untouchable warlord, talking about crashing out with his brothers, putting a pipe bomb in someone's trunk, threatening anyone who messes with his family that he'll crash out so hard over it he'll be sent to prison. But the irony writes itself in the bars. Like, the final bars of this record are, who put a pipe bomb in your trunk? It was an exhibit. I'm trying to blow the doors off when you touch the ignition. But then I gotta remember who made this stuff come to fruition. It's like as if after sending all these threats, he's got to remember, like, oh, who was that young kid in Toronto raised by his Jewish mother in the suburbs crying over tuna sandwiches? Like, yeah, maybe he does really believe at this point that he is this larger than life mafia boss that he's kind of painted himself to be for the last 7 years. But by the end of this verse, he even has to remind himself who made this stuff come to fruition. At the end of the day, right now, he's just a sad actor spiraling. All this tough talk isn't truly him, but it's that tough front that he puts on that restricts Drake from actually being relatable at this point in his life and his career. There's not one point in this song where you feel like he's even in touch with the narrative being painted against him, who's really for or against him, what his next move should be. And in a lot of ways, this current Drake, this Drake rapping on this new freestyle, reminds me of the character Tony Soprano. Not because Drake really is that tough mafia boss like Tony was, but by the end of The Sopranos, Tony ended up paranoid that everyone was out to get him. He had a lot of people who respected him and worked under him, but as his wife Carmela puts it, he had no real friends. Everyone laughed at his jokes. Everyone kissed his butt because he was the boss. They had to. He had the power. But the power, the money, the notoriety, the backstabbing from the people within his inner circle drove Tony to only care about money and power and lose his ability to heal, look within, reflect, grow as a person. No matter how many sessions he had with his therapist, he was never actually able to make progress and break out of that toxic life of crime that he was a part of. And it's very similar with Drake's situation, which is ironic because he's always painting himself to be this mafia figure. And maybe that's why I'm using Tony as an example. If you've never watched The Sopranos, then I'm sorry for this whole rant, but do yourself a favor and watch The Sopranos. But yeah, it seems like at this point in Drake's career, he's become so diluted with the fake Hollywood friendships, the overindulgence in materialism, the obsessive crave for more and more power and attention.
Thank you guys. Bye.
And like a little 2-year-old.
And just like Tony, who, I mean, even after he was shot by his uncle and nearly met his demise, he still had to put on a tough persona to the rest of his crew to let them know that he still is that boss. So he punched someone in the face, then quickly runs to the bathroom to start puking, but he'll do anything to uphold that facade. Same thing with Drake. It doesn't matter how many brothers he talks about losing on this song, or how many flaws he talks about inheriting from his father, or how sad he is about not getting celebrated for his accomplishments. All of these vulnerabilities, all of these sorrows he reflects on feel hollow because they're being discussed through the lens of someone who is more concerned with maintaining this caricature of a larger-than-life, intimidating, power-hungry, dominant threat in the music industry, rather than just simply being himself and, like Kendrick said, stripping the ego from the bottom, understanding why these brothers, these so-called brothers, are turning on you, why there's no loyalty in your circle, why people aren't so quick to celebrate all of your accomplishments, why are people saying that you're not that N-word, as you put it on the last bar of this record. Just like Tony Soprano, you fail to do that internal work, understanding the flaws of your own character and how to fix them because you're so focused on continuing to uphold this fake character that you felt has given you power and acceptance for so many years now. Like Kendrick said, you understood being a beard just fit you better. But as a result, your music and you as a human have gotten more and more unrelatable as the years have passed. And that's no different with this record. It's really exhausting to hear Drake not only uphold this character, but use the same flows, the same cadence, the same rhyme scheme that we've heard from him for so many years now. And I really did not want to make this a Drake hate video, but when this came out, man, was I disappointed, because Drake has given us so many amazing vulnerable records early on in his career. You and the Six, or Look What You've Done, talking about his tough relationship with his mother and the inspiration that she gave him. Songs like From Time or Marvin's Room.
I don't care what y'all think, but talk my shit. I don't care, like me or not. You know how Drake? You know how I know Drake ain't black? Let's be real. Let's be real. That's how you know Drake ain't black, right? How many times have we watched niggas that sit here and put their kids in their music video, right? Got some kind of swag to them, some kind of like nigga. They got listen, we count bankroll, nigga. I'm on Glee with that. You feel me? This is why they said Drake ain't a good
Records early on in his career. You and the
I'm not
Six.
picking on the little kid. I'm just saying the person that's raising him. That should show you.
Or Look What You've Done, talking about his tough relationship with his mother and the inspiration that she.
Like, that's all I'm like. I don't know. I just. What does that got to do with being like, how, like, bro? Just think about it, bro. Like.
Gave him songs like From Time or Marvin's Room, opening up on the vulnerabilities of some of his relationships, and more importantly, putting a magnifying glass on the mistakes he's made throughout those relationships. Or even touching on themes that are present in this song, like when he raps, "People were never happy for me when I ran up the digits." He touched on his shortcomings as a man dealing with fame in a much more mature way when he was a lot younger, ironically, on songs like The Ride or Successful. He's even done the mob boss persona better on tracks like Pound Cake, which was over 10 years ago back in 2013. But that's the problem. It's not just that Drake was a little more honest with himself back then, not playing this character, so it was a lot easier for him to open up and be more flexible in the subject matter or the introspection within his lyrics, but it was also the fact that back then he seemed a lot more inspired creatively. Like, I'm not going to play you this track because UMG already took it down off YouTube. I don't know how he even was able to release this with this whole petition thing that he has going on with UMG, but I'm not trying to have this copyright stricken, so me and you are going to rap the bars together as we break them down.
I was gonna say I woke up to Alright, my bad. No, but I woke up to that shit. I woke up to hearing UMG took down Drake's whatever, right? So I try to go like, nigga, I just woke up. Shit, what y'all talking about, nigga? Let me. Couldn't find it. So I was like, well, somebody talking about it. Let's listen. I was trying to
shortly in this video, but I just want to wrap this song to you in the cadence Drake uses, and then wrap a couple other Drake songs that he's released over the last few years, and you'll see how disgustingly similar, how recycled, how he's blatantly been scamming his audience by using the exact same flow, the exact same delivery every single time he does these type of timestamp records in the last 5 to 10 years. And I want to preface again, yes, this is kind of a Drake hate video, but this is coming from someone who was championing Drake so hard in his early career. As a fellow Canadian, I was so happy hearing Drake on hip-hop radio stations back in 2009 with a unique sound merging R&B and hip-hop, taking on the role of T-Pain, who at the time was dominating the charts with his infectious melodic auto-tune hooks, and merging that with the bars that were inspired by his mentor Lil Wayne. It was inspiring to
Hold on. Okay, that's what I thought. I was about to say, wait, when the did T Pain ever make a what you call it with Drake? Like, I'm a Florida native. Like, T Pain's a Florida native. Ooh, I knew that.
to see him put Canada on the map within mainstream hip-hop with such an unprecedented sound early on. But as an early fan, I just grew more and more frustrated with A, the caricatures that Drake now plays, and B, the downshift of creative drive that has stemmed from his latest music. So his new song, Fighting Irish, this is how it goes. The summer is over, I missed it, barrel with smoke and I kissed it, Ferris showed us the renders for Texas, it's unrealistic. Now I'm gonna play you a couple seconds of a few different songs from the last few years where you'll see he's constantly using this same exact delivery, and it's not just that the flows are recycled, it's that every single song has this same kind of low tempo tone.
We skiing out in Courchevel. Breaking news, they try to kill him, but the boy prevails. She got a thing for Chanel vintage that.
If you want to start selling print on demand and have never heard of Kittle, well, today's your lucky
It'd
day.
be on people to expose you. You just expose you.
Dry before she could speak English. Boy prevails. She got a thing for Chanel vintage that dry before she could speak English. Diamonds and violence made us bond. We grew closer.
So yeah, maybe I'm reaching, but I don't know. To me, it sounds like he's half asleep on these records, and a lot of them are just recycling these same exact cadences and deliveries. And this song here is no different. And it's sad because I do think Drake is still an incredible rapper. I don't want to make this a complete Drake hate video. There's a lot of...
Bro, we're not saying that he's not a good rapper. Ain't no one taking that away from him. It's his action, bro. His action, his like, his morals, what he stands for. That's what everybody's criticizing. That's what everybody's going after. Like no one is calling this boy. No one is not like, come on, this nigga got way too much hits for anybody to be like, he's trash. It's just like, no, bro. Some people just gonna be like, yeah, he's straight. I just can't vibe with him, bro. You feel me? You can something can be all right to you, you not fucking with it, you not vibing with it, bro. No one is taking that from him. They're just saying like the shit that he stands for, that he goes for, that he promotes, that he so-called think he is or what it like. No, that's the fuckery right there. That's where it's just like, nah, bro, like.
Redeemable qualities to his penmanship. Yes, he uses the same flow, but that flow can sound good at times. This rhyme scheme is respectable where he's rhyming the exact same word for the entire song, except his mentor Lil Wayne did it way better on his song Bloody Mary with wittier punchlines, better wordplay, and a lot more energy in his delivery.
Suicide is a suicide. Like suits and ties, magic, poof, goodbye.
I mean, this is how you know Kendrick Lamar was rapping from Drake's perspective at the beginning of 616 in LA, because it's that same type of repeated delivery with each bar. But anyways, I appreciate you guys sticking with me. With that being said, let's get into this new song. So Drake starts it off rapping, "The summer is over, I missed it, barrel with smoke and I kissed it." That barrel with smoke obviously being in reference to the smoke he had for Kendrick throughout the entire summer, and him saying he missed the summer could be in reference to the fact that he missed his mark this summer didn't go the way he planned for it to go, or he literally missed the summer, like he was supposed to go on vacation. He was alluding to that throughout this beef in Family Matters in the Heart Part 6, and even before this beef he said he was taking a break from music, maybe with some summer plans, but the summer's now over and he definitely missed out on those summer plans thanks to Kendrick Lamar. He even posted a picture on his Instagram right after he released the Heart Part 6, which said, "Good times, summer vibes up next." I don't think those 100 gig songs were sufficient for the summer vibes Drake was looking for, but maybe that's also what he means. He missed the mark on those songs. Then he raps about Ferris, his home designer, showing him renders for his new home in Texas. Rapping, "Ferris showed us the renders for Texas, it's unrealistic. Cut him a check because I hate reviewing the budgets and limits." Then he raps, "The world fell in love with the gimmicks, even my brothers got tickets, seemed like they loved every minute. Just know this stuff is personal to us and it wasn't just business." I don't know what gimmicks he's referring to. The only gimmicks I can recall were the ones from Drake himself, trolling relentlessly on Instagram throughout this entire beef as Kendrick was silent. Drake, Chubbs, and a bunch of OVO affiliates were trolling Kendrick and his team for his silence. Drake used Tupac and Snoop Dogg AI vocals, taunting Kendrick. He was posting selfies with Compton College sweaters, and now he's filing lawsuits over rap beef streaming numbers. So you tell me where the gimmicks came from, but I'm assuming he's talking about Not Like Us, the PDF file allegations, and the world falling in love with it, meaning that the world fell in love with that song and made it #1. And him saying, "Even my brothers got tickets, seemed like they loved every minute," is in reference to the fact that a lot of people who Drake was close to in the past like LeBron James, DeMar DeRozan, even SZA, Rick Ross. All of these guys were at Kendrick's pop-out concert watching him perform that diss track 6 times in a row. And then Drake emphasizes that this stuff was personal to him, it wasn't just business. He rapped, "Just know this stuff is personal to us, it wasn't just business." Then he discusses Kendrick's Meet the Grams when he raps, "Analyzing behavioral patterns is somewhat suspicious." Obviously, that entire song being an analysis and dissection of every flaw that Drake has within his character, pointing those flaws out to all of his family members, his son, his mom, his dad. Drake is saying that activity is suspicious. Then he raps, "People were never happy for me when I ran up the digits, or when I'm breaking records still as I guzzle a Guinness," which is actually a pretty dope bar, since Guinness being like the Guinness World Records, but also being like the beer, a Guinness. So he's guzzling a beer casually as he's breaking all these records. But it's interesting that he notes
Haitian. Guinness. Guinness and Playboy Cunha. Mama Guinness.
that people were never happy for him when he ran up the digits. It's the same sentiment he felt when he won the award from Billboard for Artist of the Decade, and he told Elliott Wilson and B. Dot that he felt like people weren't congratulating him the same way that they would his fellow rap peers, and he attributes it to the fact that he's biracial, saying that when he won Artist of the Decade, no one was making the headline, "A black man won Artist of the Decade." He had similar bars on his 2023 song Wickman, rapping, "White America say I'm becoming a threat. Black America love to remind me what my mama looked like, as if I'd ever forget. I'm never enough. Much to their dismay, I'm leveling up." So yeah, he still feels like while he's breaking these records, people are never truly happy for him, or he doesn't feel like he's enough. Then he reflects on his relationship with his so-called brother, who fell in love with the gimmicks and got tickets to the show, aka the pop-out show, when he raps, "Remember when we were trading watches? I gave you that Arabic dial, you gave me a numbered edition. You would even check up on my son like a pediatrician. Sure convinced the gang this stuff was rooted in love when it isn't." Now, the watch thing could be in reference to LeBron, given both of their love for different expensive watches, and how close Drake and LeBron were in the past.
Drake texts you and like, am I letting you down?
Yeah, what'd I tell you?
What did you say to him?
You said that I
Why does he sound like a little kid in this? You said you said no. You said to continue being yourself.
I can never let you down.
But I don't know, something feels off to me about Drake rapping about pediatricians. Like anything with PDF or anything close to the words PDF in a bar should never be mentioned by Drake, at least for the foreseeable future. He continues sending shots at LeBron, saying, "I guess now you boys gotta abandon your summer tradition," because LeBron would always attend Drake's OVO Fest in the summer. Now he's abandoning that tradition to attend Kendrick's pop-out show in the summer. Then he raps some bars that I think might actually be directed at Lil Wayne. This might be a bit of a reach, but Drake rapped, "Cold shoulders I gave in the Hamptons, it come with the distance. Figured we was always gonna be close like ovens and kitchens. I was sadly mistaken, the loyalty wasn't a given." The cold shoulders he gave in the Hamptons is in relation to Drake attending Michael Rubin's white party this summer. This was right on the heels of the beef, and Drake was pictured at this white party with his eyes looking like he aged 40 years in the span of just one summer. And another person in attendance at this party was Lil Wayne. And Lil Wayne went on Instagram Live after this party to say that only a few people came up to show him love at the party. He named Glorilla. I forget who else he named. Tom Brady, I think. But he had emphasized that a lot of people in the industry didn't come to, say what's up to him, except for Glorilla and Tom Brady, which is weird because Drake, his protege, was at this same party. He didn't make any reference to Drake, and a couple weeks later, we saw him rocking an XO chain given to him by The Weeknd, who was famously beefing Drake just a few months prior. Drake and Lil Wayne have been distanced, at least in the public eye, a lot more in recent times than they were back in the Young Money days. And people speculated that Wayne kind of picked sides throughout this whole beef, especially when recently he just said that he spoke to Kendrick Lamar about the Super Bowl, telling him to kill it. I definitely hope, of all people, Drake is not beefing with Weezy. We already lost his collabs with Rick Ross.
Looking for an easy way to get that LLC next to your business name? Say hello to Taylor Brand. You just go to their site, enter your LLC state, add your
Ross and Future. I still want to hear more Drake and Lil Wayne music in the future. But yeah, I'm not sure who else these bars could be about. Cold shoulders in the Hamptons, Wayne saying that no one came to show him love at that same party in the Hamptons. Drake saying it comes with the distance. Drake and Lil Wayne having that distance since the Young Money days. Figured we'd always be close. I was sadly
Let's just say a lot of shit happened, but the one thing that kind of went out there that, I mean, to be honest with you, they called Drake a fuck nigga on was the fact that when Drake got locked up, when Drake got locked up, ain't never been in handcuff. Um, when Lil Wayne got locked up, he turned around and smashed Lil Wayne's girl. So that was the only thing that ever made the headline, like, you know, between these two. Like, bro, you. Damn, it's too early right now.
mistaken. The loyalty wasn't a given. Obviously, everyone thought that Drake and Wayne would always be loyal to each other since the Young Money days. It's possible that loyalty isn't there today. Could be a reach. Let me know in the comments. Drake continues rapping. People cried the blues for you, saying it wasn't malicious, talking about we're family. Well, I'm not the cousin to visit. People think these bars were about DeMar DeRozan because DeMar had famously said Drake was a good friend to him, especially when he was traded from the Spurs to the Raptors back in 2018. And he went to Drake's house back then, and Drake helped him deal with a lot of anxiety and depression that he was facing. But now, this year, he was in Kendrick's Not Like Us music video. He was dancing on stage at the pop-out. And we know how Drake felt about this because he was mean-mugging DeMar at a basketball game just a couple months ago. So I guess he's not that cousin to visit. Then Drake raps, God forbid we ever gotta tarnish your public image. People think this is in relation to LeBron, given his close association to Diddy. LeBron even saying ain't no party like a Diddy party. And LeBron has a pretty clean public image. Drake here may be saying like, you know, we used to be close, you switched up on me. God forbid I reveal any of your secrets about what might have been going on at those Diddy parties.
Damn, nigga, you that damn salty that you gonna put another nigga down like that? You just gonna throw another nigga out just cause you that salty that nigga showed up to somebody else's party instead of your fucking party, bro? Like, God, you know what? You know what? You better make sure I don't release no dirt on your bitch. And like, you ain't come to my party, so I'ma tell. All right, I'ma tell. I am telling you, Drake is that little white boy that his mom gave him what she can, and as he grew up, got more power. It's my way or the highway. I'm gonna throw a tantrum. I'm gonna throw a temper tantrum. Feel me? No. That nigga really said, I got. Nigga, you mad at everybody but the person you need to be mad at.
Then Drake touches on the beef a bit, rapping, people wanted trouble, grabbed the shovel and dug up some ditches, cover my body in dirt, but that wasn't me. That was a body double, and we've done dozens of switches, possibly in reference to the fact that Drake claims he fed Kendrick fake information about a daughter, about fake pill prescriptions, really assuming that what won Kendrick this beef was all of the gossip and allegations instead of just the careful analysis that Kendrick did on Drake's stance in the culture. But yeah, Drake could be saying here like they tried to bury me, but instead they got a bunch of fake information and put that in their diss tracks. Then he references the shooting that happened outside his house, rapping, people tried to light the front gate up, it wasn't for Christmas, rapping was over for now, it came like a sudden decision, and that's because after that shooting happened, basically stopped the entire beef. No one put out a diss track after that. No one wanted to continue rapping if it was going to escalate into violence. Then he raps, I don't give a F about you snakes or these other musicians. People started effing with my family. I'm going to prison. Again, with that mob boss tough talk. More ridiculous Tony Soprano tough talk coming on the next bars with, we're all crashing out together, my brother's complicit. Who put a pipe bomb in your trunk? It wasn't Exhibit. I'm trying to blow out the doors when you touch the ignition, but then I gotta remember who made this stuff come to fruition. And I know in that last line when he says, you know, I gotta remember who made this stuff come to fruition, he's basically saying like, I'm in too powerful of a position to start acting violent, acting out because I have too much to lose. But it really just sounds ironic because it more so sounds like he's saying, I want to do all these violent things, but then I got to remember where I came from, who I truly am. I'm not really that violent person. I'm not really this mob boss that I'm pretending to be. I know consciously that's not what he's trying to get off here, but subconsciously that's kind of the message that he's alluding to, ironically. And again, these bars about violence, these bars about destruction really take away from the sentiment of the vulnerability that he's displaying earlier in the verse talking about his brother switching up on him, the lack of loyalty, the ineffective burial that these rappers tried to perform on him. Like, how is it really ineffective if you're willing to crash out over it and put pipe bombs in people's trunks? Then Drake references the lawsuit that he might be filing against UMG by rapping, "Who's got the most to lose and who's in that other position? Signal conversations, boy, I hope they got double encryption. I hate to see the empire crumble on judges' convictions." Meaning, like, I'd hate to see, that whole universal empire crumble if a judge ends up ruling in my favor, exposing the malpractices in the music industry. Then he talks about Kendrick rapping, "This guy pulled a rabbit out the hat and y'all love a magician. It's funny to see you rejoicing and hugging and kissing. What are we celebrating? I'll rent out the club in addition. Nothing was the same with all you B words and nothing's forgiven." Basically saying that Kendrick did magic, I guess. I mean, he did kind of sound like a magician when he was talking about, have you ever played? Have you ever? Okay, let's play. And then magically popped out with like 5 different diss tracks stomping on Drake's grave. Then he raps about his alcohol problems, saying, "The Dennis James comes out when the vodka is flooding my system. I don't have a drinking problem, I got a subtle addiction." Dennis James was a German-American bodybuilder of mixed race. His father was African-American and his mother was German, similarly to Drake, who is mixed race, with his mother being white and Jewish and his father being African-American. I guess he's saying that the alcohol gives him the confidence of a bodybuilder, and the whole "I don't got a drinking problem, I got a subtle addiction." I mean, his drinking problem was on full display in his stream with Aiden Ross. He was drinking incessantly, if that's the right word, drink after drink. I don't think there was a single minute of that 5-hour live stream that he didn't have a drink in his hand. And he's mentioning this because of the allegations Kendrick made against him on Meet the Grams, telling him that he had alcohol problems and that he was also a gambling addict. Here he's saying he doesn't have drinking problems, but he might have a subtle addiction. I guess when you're sponsored by steak, you gotta embrace your gambling problems and wear them as a badge of honor for the world to see. He continues referencing Meet the Grams, rapping, "I got my father's habits and I got my mother's permission," seemingly blaming his shortcomings on the way his father raised him or the type of man he was, and that his mom gave him permission to embrace these bad habits.
I think one of the videos we're gonna hit typical black guy. Drake had a black dad. Typical black shit. You feel me? I'm out here. And mom being white, that makes a lot of sense.
Similarly to what he rapped on Blue Green Red, a track from this summer, where he said, "Write my mother and tell her the shape I've been in. 14 days I've been sober, now I'm back drinking again." I mean, he could say he doesn't have a drinking problem or he's not an alcoholic, but even in his own lyrics, he's contradicting himself when he truly tries to open up. And then he ends the song off in an interesting way. Again, I really do think Drake is trying to open up here, be a bit more vulnerable, but still he manages to come across as immature and really just out of touch with reality. He raps, "My dad has another child. I told him that wasn't my sister." Why would you do that, Drake? After hiding your own son, now you want to hide your sister? Anyways, he continues rapping, "Grew up with dozens of Jews, churches with dozens of Christians, also developed a deep respect for the Muslim religion. I'm staring at my daddy while y'all telling me I wasn't that N-word." This reminds me of just last week when he was on stream with Aiden Ross, and Aiden Ross called him a black man, and Drake said that was the nicest thing anyone said to him all year.
That kind of looks like you.
And then you're the black guy.
Thanks.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks. Appreciate that. That's like the nicest thing anyone said to me all year.
Yeah.
About the kids.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right.
Again, it seems like what Drake took from Kendrick's diss songs was that he doesn't feel like Kendrick thinks Drake is black enough, and that it doesn't actually stem from his actual characteristics as a man. And he also makes reference to
Drake was supposed to be that typical, oh, he's black, but he ain't black. You feel me? And for some people would be like, wait, what do you mean he's black but he ain't black? He black. He just don't have no intention, no black intention. He
Kendrick rapping, "You lied about your religious views," by telling us that he grew up around Jews, but he was also in churches and he was around Muslims who he developed a deep respect for.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna get at you on the next one. Y'all hit that like, get the comment, let me know who to do next. Yeah, go hit up the video.